What's good, everybody? Oh, it is a glorious Tuesday afternoon, and that means only one thing. It is time for DTL Golf. Me and the best minds in the business get together live every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. If you are watching on demand, thank you, as always, for taking the time. Got about 48 hours between when we record to when the event starts. And this week, kind of let's like a little deflation as far as energy is concerned, but we cannot do that. Why? Because it's the fifth signature event of the year, the RBC Heritage. Not a super long course, a lot of target golf, but most all of the top players in the world are here because of the $20 million purse. So we have no time to waste. We got to talk Masters. We got to talk Live. We've got to talk, do we like having a signature event the week after a major? We got to talk all of it. So let's bring in the stars of the show. And while we do that, shout out to Matt, James, Hung, Klein, all of you. New crew members. It's the best value in all of sports betting. I encourage you to bring all of your friends because you get stuff like this and bonus content as we continue to grow, only 3 months in. Now, this man is on site today, part of PGA Tour Live this week. Steve Scott, my main man. Hello, sir.
Welcome, everybody. Yeah, we've got a great week here. We got a little relaxation, maybe, slightly. We got no cut this week, and we've got a great golf course, but a very narrow golf course, and we're going to get into this thing, but it is just it's an awesome Pete Dye, and Jack Nicklaus even collaborated on this thing, so back in 1969. So kind of the precursor to TPC Stadium course at Sawgrass. So a really cool venue here at Harbor Town, one with the lighthouse and a very identifiable golf course. Everybody's going to love this week.
You're damn right. And look at that.
I loved it. I loved it back then.
Now, where is this picture from, Steve-O?
That was the 2018 Carolinas PGA Championship that I was fortunate enough to win right here at Harbor Town. I beat a few guys by a shot, and even though I bogeyed the last hole, but we're not going to remember that. But I went on with the trophy, got a great picture, great memories here at Harbor Town for me, and to be on the grounds this week for PGA Tour Live, it's very, very cool. There's another shot there off the 14th hole. Tough par threes. This golf course has got some really exacting shots, and I can't wait for everybody to see it. If they haven't seen this golf course, they better tune in to PGA Tour Live and CBS and everybody.
Well, I tell you what, only in the sport of golf can you get those memories, bring them back. You look at them on a show like DTL Golf, and it takes you right back in an instant. Thank you for sending those in. All right. Now, the other man who's always a part of what we do. How many times have you relaxed, Eddie, as Steve Scott just said, kind of a relaxing week, and you still played for $3.6 million first prize and $20 million total, sir? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How about never? I would love to, though. I would love to
nice, right?
pay for a $3.6 or $4 million first place. But no, great to be here, guys. Sorry I missed last week. I was presenting at a seminar, but what a week. I can't wait to get into it this week. I was glued to the TV, had a brand new leather sectional reclining couch delivered Thursday morning. So my happy you-know-what was sitting in that thing all weekend. I think I have some blisters on me arse, as the Irish say.
that is something I do not need to know ever. Eddie, ever.
Yeah, TMI, Mr.
TMI. But it was a great weekend.
All right, let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about this week. Even before we get to the picks for the RBC Heritage, and again, all the top players are here. The only person that was eligible that did not commit, Hideki Matsuyama. Victor Hovland did commit. He pulled out last Saturday after a horrendous Masters. But I got to tell you, Steve Scott, a person who did not have a bad Masters week, and that's where we're going to start right here, right now. And he is in the field this week, so all that nonsense about his wife getting ready to pop out baby number one, that the phone was ready to go, and the minute it goes off, he's hot. Stop it. He would not be playing this week if it was ever an issue last week. But Scottie Scheffler becomes the fourth youngest player ever, 27 years of age, to get a second green jacket the way he won it on Sunday, shooting under par when everybody else was making mistake after mistake after mistake. And he was the betting favorite at the lowest since Tiger Woods. He did all of that with the pressure on his shoulders. Your take?
It was pretty amazing, right? I mean, he was like a like a champion racehorse coming down, through 3 rounds. I mean, he was just kind of neck and neck, and he wasn't really separating himself maybe like Tiger Woods did in the past. But one thing that Scottie Scheffler does is he senses the moment. He never got too far behind. And when he did, he sensed that moment on Saturday afternoon after a few missteps early in that back nine, or the second nine, excuse me, and made that great eagle on 13, and then worked his way towards the lead. But that Sunday, that 8, 9, and 10, almost holding the shot on number 9. Number 10 is a brutal par 4, and he made it look very, very easy. Just played the right shots at the right time and separated himself right towards the last bit of that golf tournament. And it really took the drama out of the last few holes. For everybody who wanted to be one shot coming down to the last, he just didn't let that happen.
Yeah, and that's exactly how he plays. I texted somebody, one of my good friends, about 2 holes in. The live number was minus 110 at the time. First guy, he goes, should I play it right now? I said, do it. He said, why? I said, because Scottie doesn't make mistakes that everybody else makes. And it played out to a multi-shot victory. However, Eddie, as I come over to you, you have kind of a different angle, because Scottie Scheffler's caddy, Ted Scott, if he was ranked on the PGA Tour money list, he would be inside the top, 80, top 70 right now. He would have made $1.2 million himself the last month or so. But how important in your mind is that relationship for Scottie to be successful?
I'm friends with Teddy, and we hung out during the API, and it's really impressive because I've met Scottie a couple times, just talked to him briefly a few times, and they are one and the same. They're very, very similar people, and on every level. So they're very, very competitive, and they're almost like separated at birth. So Teddy told me, I asked him, I think I mentioned on the show a few months ago, I said, what's the difference between Bubba and Scottie? He said, Eddie, Scottie never misses a shot. He flushes it every day. It's like a stripe show. He never hits it bad. And, having a guy like Ted on the bag, and they're very similar in faith, and they're very similar in how they go about their daily business. Family is very, very important, the most important thing. So I think having Ted on the bag with his experience and just he's kind of goofy and fun. And I think that's great for Scottie, and just the experience alone, especially at Augusta. I mean, there's not a caddy out there that probably knows the course better outside of the everyday caddies at Augusta. So, I think it's a massive, massive piece of Scottie's success the last couple of years.
Yeah, to your point, Scottie said, golf is not who I am. It's what I do. I'm in my faith. It's all about, it's all those sayings that he says. And then he probably ticked a few guys off, Steve, when he's sitting in a place that as golfers, everybody wants to sit. Butler Cabin, getting a second green jacket. Basically says on air, this doesn't really matter to me. I'm really thinking about getting back home. If we could kind of speed this up just a little bit. That shocked me. Or should it have shocked me that he did that?
No, that's just what he is. That's who he is. And he's definitely puts family first. And he's got, he plays great golf, despite all that. Like, you would think he's not that mean, fiery competitor, but deep down, we know he is. We know he can really get it done when it matters. And it'll be very interesting to see, in the next few weeks, by the next major, it appears that he will be a new father here very soon. So we will see how that affects his golf game, and maybe it'll help him. Maybe it will. I don't know how much it could help him, but obviously he's playing so great with 3 wins and 1 runner-up in the last 4 events. But it's definitely who he is, and he plays true to himself. I think that's the most important point.
And when you look at the ultimate competitor, on one side you had Scottie Scheffler, Eddie, but on the other side, it was a big storyline. But I had to literally talk to myself, because I'm the biggest Tiger Woods fan there is in the world. And I had to physically tell myself over the weekend, we're never going to see him win or come close to it ever again. His body simply cannot get it done. And making the cut was all he was ever going to do, and then shoot 15 over on the weekend. Do you think Tiger understands that his days of winning, despite him saying he believes he can, are over?
No. There's a 99.9% chance he might never win again, but there's something about Tiger, the aura of Tiger Woods. He needs reps. He can't play, once a month, once every other month, 4 majors and expect to be at your top level. It's just not going to happen. He can't. No, it's different. And Steve knows this, and Robert knows this. Playing with your buddies is a lot different than teeing it up and having to put a number on the scorecard. And same thing in long drive. Practice is one thing. You got to do it on the grid. So, and I think, I wouldn't put it past them to maybe win that 83rd, but it's going to be extremely, extremely difficult. And he needs to play more. That's the thing. I mean, we all want to see him play more. And I just don't know if he's going to. Just playing 4 majors a year or 5 tournaments a year, I don't see it. But, you can't bet against the guy.
Well, I know this, Steve, that if he would put his ego aside to play more, he needs to play flat golf courses, ones that are much easier than Augusta National to walk. But that means maybe playing a golf tournament that's below him or that he would never do. But if he wants to be competitive, he 100% has to play more. And I don't believe his ego will allow him to do that. So this is what we're going to see at best, struggling to make cuts in majors. Your take?
Well, if he's looking just to get that tournament win title over Sam Snead, to get that 83rd victory and be the all-time winningest PGA Tour player, this would be a perfect week. Harbortown, a very flat golf course. He doesn't have to bomb drivers and do all that sort of thing. He can really pinpoint his way around. This might be the type of golf course he can do it. Obviously, he's not playing this week. Playing 2 weeks in a row is almost impossible for him. And I think there was more that was going on. The weather was actually pretty good for him overall last week. It was pretty warm for most of his play. But we just saw the effects of, I mean, he's got back issues. He's got foot issues. He's got, everything's fused in his body. And when it's cold at all, I mean, he needs to play golf in a sauna. That's really what Tiger Woods needs to do going forward. So the venues that he could choose, and Valhalla in Kentucky, it might not be that warm in a month. Let's face it. So, and Troon over in Scotland. I mean, I think Pinehurst will be his best chance this year as far as a major goes. It could be pretty warm there in the sandhills of North Carolina.
Yeah, good takes by both of you on Tiger Woods. We'll see. But my expectations are done. They're absolutely done. Now, let's switch to a few guys that made news or are making news this week, and then we will get to our 5 categories for this week's RBC Heritage. So, Eddie, I'm going to start with you because John Rahm made some comments, and I am so sick and tired. I don't mind Liv. I don't watch Liv. Nobody watches Liv, but they have some big names, so I'll give them respect. But John Rahm did an interview where basically he said there's some guys at the PGA Tour that treated me differently, that didn't look my way. And that's a them problem, not a me problem. And I said on social media, got a little pushback, listen, you take $300 million, there's going to be people feeling some kind of way. Well, not only did that come out, but now there's been reports that Rory and Scottie Scheffler have been approached with mega deals. The Rory one, $850 million in equity. He said today, nonsense. Haven't even gotten an offer. Haven't talked to anybody. His agent said the same thing. Scottie Scheffler, this is why I hate social media. It's just been kind of reported out there. There's been no truth to it. But could you see either guy at $800 million, which would be the dumbest investment of all time, but at $800 million to go to Live at all? Your take.
A source says, don't you love that? A source. Right. I can't see either of them going. I've heard the Rory rumor for probably a month or two now. And if he goes, I think, Brandel and Eamon Lynch will jump off a cliff, to be honest with you.
They would lose their mind.
Scotty, I would almost bet my house on it. 99.999% chance he is not going to go. He is not about money. I think he's still driving his GMC Yukon from University of Texas. So it's not about the money for him. 800 million is a lot of money, man. But I don't with everything that's come out with Rory and Liv, if he goes, oh my goodness, the golf world will be just turned upside down if he went with all the bashing and the this and the that, and Greg Norman. And Man, that would be huge. I don't see either of them going though. I can't see it.
Well, by the way, Greg Norman bought a ticket, and then Freddie Couples trolled him on social media. He goes, "Hey, dog, as a former Masters champion, if you need a ticket to get in next year, I got you." Freddie does not like Greg Norman. So, Steve, let me come over to you, because the dollars aside, Scottie Scheffler, I saw somebody on social media said, "Well, Coach, Scottie's all about his family. He could stay home more." Well, that's the narrative that all these live golfers told the world, when in actuality, they're traveling more than most tour guys, because most of these events are outside of the United States. They're so far. It's a ridiculous narrative. But if either one of these guys went, Steve, I'm with Eddie. I would be shocked, simply because Roy's worth over $500 million already, and Scottie just doesn't care about anything but beating your ass. Your take?
Competitiveness, right? That's really what these guys are looking for, and the PGA Tour gives that. They have more opportunities to be competitive, essentially. And we know everything about the world rankings and how the players are not getting the world ranking points at all on that live tour. So it's not going to do anything but help their bank accounts. And let's face it, these guys have plenty of money. They've got more money. They know what to do with. And it would be a complete shock for the golfing world, for the universe, if either of those two defected, so to speak, to go to live.
Yeah, for those in the DTL Golf universe, I need you to hit that like button for me. It really helps the show grow. And just so you know, when you look at these numbers, be educated a little bit. It's divided by 4. And so if you take 200 million, that is 50 million a year. There are guys now that are getting close to that if you count endorsements, which a lot of the live golfers lost when they went to live. So it's not like some are making that much more than they would have made staying on the PGA Tour. We don't talk about that a lot, but that's fact. That is fact. All right, gentlemen, I want to cash some tickets. I'm ready to cash some tickets. So if you are new to DTL Golf, first of all, welcome. We have 5 different categories that I tell my guys I need something to sink my teeth into. In the first one, why wouldn't we start with first round leaders? You only got 18 holes to cash this ticket. So, Fast Eddie, I'm coming to you, big boy, because last week, the 2 names that you like, they were up, they were down, but they are really good iron players. This is Target Golf. Let's start with you.
Yeah, Patrick Cantlay plus 2,200. He has 3 top 5s the last 5 years here. Like Steve said, it's a hallway at that place. You don't have to hit it far. He hits it consistently well. He's a great ball striker. He's a very tactical player, and he's due to play well. He is so talented, and he just kind of stays in that little Patrick Cantlay bubble, doesn't really acknowledge the crowd at all. But he couldn't get anything going on the weekend at Augusta, although he made the cut. And then Shane Lowry, he's had 3 top 10s the last 5 years here. Had a nice year, really came alive on the Florida swing. I look for him to come out of the gates really, really strong this week. Made the cut at the Masters and had a nice walk on the weekend, so it was pretty stress-free. He didn't really, he holed out on 14. I believe it was Saturday, which was a nice little bonus for him. But pretty stress-free weekend. He was never contending, and he just kind of, how nice would it be to just walk Augusta on the weekend and just not really kind of stress-free round? And we'll see you later. We'll see you next week at Harbortown.
Well, there were a lot of guys that did that over the weekend because they were so far back. Yeah. Steve Scott, the guy that I'm staring at right now that you like, he was not one of those guys. In fact, he gave his caddy, who was a local caddy, filling in for his normal caddy, he said he loved every second of being out there with him. And it led to the best finish he's ever had at the Masters. You think he will carry that over in the first round this week?
I do. I think that a tie for third last week, he's got things really under control. The man they call Fairway Jesus. I love that nickname. Tommy Fleetwood. I mean, they get special conditioner just shipped overseas to his any venue he's at over here. So he's got all the flowing locks. It's beautiful. Anyway, so great playing last week. The week before, tied for 7th at the Valero in Texas as well. He's a guy who kind of likes the freedom of the first round. I think that Tommy Fleetwood, if there's anything holds him back, it's his putter as it gets later and later in the golf tournament. He could have finished even better last week. He missed a couple shorter putts, And I think that really kind of holds him back. He is playing in the morning wave. He's playing with Max Homa at 10:50 a.m. on Thursday morning. And so that's also going to be a very good thing. Better scores usually come earlier in the wave. And they're playing twosomes this week. They're going to play nice and fast. I like Tommy Fleetwood at their plus 2,800 in round number.
There are so many positives to these signature events. And even though Steve already alluded to it, there is a cut. There's only 3 of the 8 signature events this season that do have a cut. And that's the Invitationals, the Genesis, the API, and Jack's Place, the Memorial. So they do have a cut this week. But twosomes, God, do the players love playing in twosomes. About 3.5, 345 as opposed to 5 or 5.5. All right. Our bread and butter here at DTL Golf. We tell you this all the time. If you're a $100 bettor, that's your full unit. This is where you bet full units. Head-to-head matchups, all you got to do is beat one other guy. We do not like three-ways in golf here at DTL Golf. So, Steve Scott.
I didn't know where you were going with that one. I'm sorry.
Did I pause in the wrong part of the sentence, perhaps?
Coach.
Who would ever do that? All right. I'm looking at 3 names. But I'll be shocked. Or excuse me, I'm a little surprised, Steve Scott, because the guys that you're fading this week, I cannot wait to hear the explanation. Go.
Well, Adam Schenk, he tied for 12th last week. I'm kind of liking these guys to carry some really good play over. I like Adam Schenk played really well. If you remember last year at the Valspar, he played really well, almost won the golf tournament. And these are Bermuda greens, mind you. Okay, the golf course, the rest of the golf course is overseeded, but the Bermuda greens are really good for Adam Schenk. He putts them very, very well. And I like the way he's trending. He knows he's going to play at Augusta next year again. So that's some great weight off of your back. Tom Hoge hasn't played super great. He's a very strong iron player. This is a good strong iron playing venue, but I just like Schenk just because of the good play factor at minus 110 over Tom Hoge. Will Zalatoris, I really like what he's doing. I like what he said after the tournament last week. He tied for 9th at Masters, and he really struck the ball great. This is a very good ball strikers golf course. Jordan Spieth, he's just, he's got a great track record here. Really, he loves this place, but he is just out of sorts with his game. He cannot find his golf swing very well and just is not full of confidence right now. And so Will Zalatoris, I really like the trend that he is going. And at minus 120, the favorite over Jordan, I really like Zalatoris. And then Ludwig Oberg, I mean, can't say enough about this guy. He is just if golfers could be created by AI, this is what Ludwig Oberg would be. His golf swing is absolutely perfect. His mindset is perfect. I think he's just got a great sense of the game. He's playing fantastic right now. Rory McIlroy, he's searched for a lot of things. He hasn't played very well. He hasn't finished inside the top 30 in a couple starts here at Harbor Town. So this is not a golf course where you need to bomb it whatsoever. You got to play very controlled golf. And McIlroy just hasn't been sharp with his wedges. He just hasn't been sharp. So I like, it's just current form over maybe past history overall for my 3 picks.
I think your takes are fantastic on all 3. Rory's not a great iron player right now from a sort, 120, 130 in, which a lot of shots on this one, probably half the holes. Spieth, I think there's having more issues with his wrist than what he's letting on, having that 9 that really shot himself out of the tournament last weekend. Adam Schenk, congratulations. Isn't it top 15 get in next year?
Top 12.
15? Top 12 and ties.
And ties, yep.
All right, he finished right there in a T12, so congratulations to Adam Schenk. All right, love those picks. Zalatoris, honestly, real form, that should be more like minus 130, minus 140 over
correct.
Steve.
Correct.
But it's name value. It's name value. Great picks, Steve. Great picks. Now, Eddie, let me come over to you. I bet if you ask 1,000 people, not one could tell you who had the lowest 4th round at the Masters last weekend. But you, sir, have picked that guy.
I have.
Did you know that?
I did. Of course I did.
This
is why I spent 3 hours researching all this stuff. But I obviously watched the telecast. Tom Kim plus 100 over Akshay Bhatia. 66 in the final round at Augusta. I mean, look, that golf course was brutal all 4 days for the most part. Friday was just atrociously brutal. But Kim over Akshay Bhatia, plus 100. His confidence is a fickle thing, and that 66, I think, is really going to propel him to playing well this week. Bhatia he's got to be pretty spent. It's his 5th event in a row. He's got to be fatigued mentally, emotionally, and physically, especially winning at Valero. You're not in the Masters, and all of a sudden you win, and you're in the Masters, and then all of a sudden there's just a lot. I don't care that he's 22 or 23 years old. It's still going to affect him, and I just feel like he needs a little bit of a break. And that 66 by Kim is a real indication that he is definitely more fresh and on a very difficult golf course. Mr. Henley, minus 120 over Corey Connors, which I thought was interesting until I really looked at the numbers. Russell Henley, has been sneaky this year. He's got 3 top 4 finishes in his last 8 events. He has a little bit better strokes gained total at Harbortown over the last few years and has played better and had higher finishes than Connors. I would have never guessed that if I didn't research it and look it up. Connors' last top 10 finish was last August. So in my opinion, the way I look at it, Russell Henley is playing much better than Corey Connors, and I love that pick. Russell Henley minus 120 over Connors.
Well, Corey Connors, just like Jordan Spieth, is a name value in sports books. They look at him and go, Ryder or President Scott. They do all that stuff. Yeah. And then they can't force themselves to give it the real number. You both have found matchups with the real number. A couple from the chat questions for you. I'll start. Steve, I'll go to you. Big Cheesy. Jason Day over Brian Harman, full tournament pick, plus 105. Do you like that?
I like Harman on this golf course, honestly. I like Harman. Harman is, I had to think about that for a second. Harman, yeah, I like Harman on this golf course. Jason Day, he's a great pitcher of the golf ball, and you're going to miss greens around here. But, I think with all the humiliation that he received from wearing those Malbon pants last week, those parachute pants, I think he's just totally flustered. So I think just for that reason alone, I got to pick Harman this week.
Can I give you credit, please? Because I saw that you posted, and then I saw other ones, and then I thought it was a parody account when I saw somebody say that Augusta National actually asked Jason Day to take that sweater off, and it was true. He admitted it. Can you imagine how bad your clothing has to be from a new company for them saying, no, Jason Day, what did you think of that? And then I'll come to you, Eddie. But Steve, then I'll come to you on this.
I didn't know what was worse, the pants or the vest. I mean, I think they were both belong in the incinerated in the garbage. But yeah, I mean the parachute pants. I mean, he's wearing on round 1, and they're whipping in the wind. I videoed something off the TV and posted it, and it got 300,000 views or something. It was unbelievable. How can you focus at all? Next day, he had a little tighter pants on for sure, but then he had that gaudy vest on. So yeah, one thing or another. I don't know. In fact, you got to look good. If you look good, you're going to feel good. And if you feel good, you're going to play good. And I don't think he's doing any of those things right now.
Hey, Coach Prime, easy. This is DTL Golf, okay? Fast Eddie, let me come over to you. Your thoughts on the Jason Day experience?
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. Exactly like Steve said, when it's windy and you've got these massive like I weighed like 110 pounds in high school, so everything was like really baggy on me. I could wear skinny pants and they'd be waving in the wind. But look, it's just not a good look. Baggy pants are okay, but those were it was like 2 trash bags on his legs. I wasn't a fan. And also the whole, whatever he had on the front of his vest. I love Jason Day. I like him a lot. But, in World Long Drive, our logos are only they cannot be any bigger than 5 inches from our sponsors. So I guarantee you that it's already written next year. The logo has to be a certain size. I would almost bet anything on it that's going to be a rule next year. You cannot have any writing bigger than, say, 5 inches like we have in Long Drive. So I'm not a big fan of the Malbon stuff, although it's different. It's just not.
At some point, it screams to me that his agent came to him when Nike, they said, all right, we're not going to renew you. And this company came in, the company has some big time clients, so they've got money. And he probably said, hey, they're willing to give you $3 million to wear their stuff. You want to do it? Yeah. Go get that check. And never left because if he would have tried that stuff on, he would have been like, you either make me some new stuff or I'm going on down the road. There's no freaking no way. There's no way. A couple other head-to-heads. Corey Connors over Ben on -135. Eddie, you're fading Corey Connors, so I'm going to come to you on this one.
Yeah, I like Ben on. I don't think Corey. I mean, look, he's such a great player, but he hasn't played that great. He's got 25th, 33rd, 42nd. He's making cuts. He's just not playing that well. And Ben on, had a few nice rounds last week at Augusta. So I like on over Corey Connors.
Steve, you're fading Hoagie. Big Cheesy, another sportsbook, has Sepp Straka -120 over Hoagie. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, they're both really good players. I think I like Hoagie in that matchup right there. Straka hasn't played super great. I'm not super high on Sepp Straka. I think Tom Hoagie versus him around here. I think Hoagie takes it on that one, honestly.
Okay, all right.
Listen to the information. Been putting very well too.
Who's that?
Hoagie's been putting very well the last 30 days.
Yeah. Shout out to Scott. Guys, thank you for the golf picks. Probably $2,000 for the Masters. We'll be sending each of you a lovely fruit basket. I'm glad you wrote that, Scotty. I actually owe him 2 shirts, which I'm still working on getting them to him. But we just added something the last couple of days. I work with a charity called Saves Wings. World Series champion Brett Saberhagen, Kansas City Royals, famously hugged George Brett back in 1985. His wife has beaten cancer twice. They started a foundation out here in wine country. We have put the link at the bottom of our YouTube page. If you guys have a good week or you want to do something nice, donate to that. Just hit the QR code, make a donation if you have a good week, and just put in there DTL sent you. And that's going to be our charity of choice right here at Driving the Line. So thank you, Scott. No fruit basket. You can make that donation. Thank you very much. All right, gentlemen, we got to move on. Category number 3. This is finishing position. This is where you scale it back just a little bit because a top 10 can turn into a missed top 20 just like that. So, fast, steady. Let me check my notes because I really like how you guys have landed on your picks this week. Take good position last week and bleed it into this week. Talk to me.
Yeah, agree with Steve on both Fleetwood and Adam Schenk. I mean, Adam Schenk had a wonderful week last week. He's plus 600 for a top 10, plus 230 for top 20, playing really, really solid the last month. Almost 2 strokes gained over the last 30 days. He tied for 12th at the Masters, 19th at the Players, 5th at Valero. He's trending up, but we never hear his name. Like I saw, and then I looked at him like, man, it's so funny how, these players kind of sneak up and, they're not the Schefflers or the McIlroys or the Rahms but Adam Schenk is playing really well. I think plus 600 for a top 10 is a steal. And then top 20 plus 230. I love that pick. Also Fleetwood, he's just a great human being, right? The caddy probably made $100,000 and I think some really good things are in the future for Tommy Fleetwood. Plus 180 top 10, plus 400 top 5. Finished 3rd, his best finish at Augusta. And he's in a really good place. His attitude is amazing and his game is really sharp. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him, top 10, top 5, and maybe contending on the back 9 on Sunday.
At some point, he's got to get that first PGA Tour win. Yep. You got to believe that his career will not end without at least one. But he doesn't have one yet. Several in DP, not one yet here. All right, Steve Scott, let me come over to you. You agree with the Schenk play. You agree with the Fleetwood play. And you're throwing Cantlay in. Talk to me.
Yeah, Schenk, I mean, look at what he's done in the last 4 events. I mean, he's had 3 top 20s, including tied for 5th a couple of weeks ago at Valero and 12th last week in the Masters, 19th, tied 19th at the Players, a great field there. So he's not scared to finish in the top 20 in a big event with big time players. So I like what he's doing. I saw him and his coach during a practice round last week at Augusta, and his coach Rob Bradley he's had since his days at Purdue. And he's not like Adam Schenk is not this guy who jumps around from coach to coach and swing thought to swing thought. He keeps it very simple. And so I really like his mindset. and he's trending very, very nicely. So plus 230, definitely a good bet there. And Tommy Fleetwood there, before I get to Cantlay, Fleetwood at plus 180. You just got to love what he's doing. And you're right. He is going to be right in there, I think, this week. Is a great golf course for him. Patrick Cantlay, this is, I know he has not played that well this year. If you look at some of his recent finishes, tied for 22nd last week, tied for 68th at the Players, tied for 36 at the API. He did tie for 4th at the Genesis 4 events ago. So there's certain places where he plays well, and this one is absolutely on the list for him. If he's going to find his game, it's going to be here in the Low Country. Last year, he was 3rd. 2 years ago, he was 2nd. 4 years ago, he was tied for 3rd, tied for 7th in 18, and back in 17, he was tied for 3rd. So, I mean, he's got 4 top 3s here in the last 6 events. So this is just a venue he just can't wait to get back to. He sees the greens very well. It's just a good, comfortable atmosphere for him. And this is a good horses for courses sort of thing. I mean, if you think about what Davis Love did around here back in the day, he won 5 tournaments at Harbor Town, 5. So this is a course where somebody plays well here time after time. I know Webb Simpson has even gotten a lot of grief for getting one of those 4 sponsor exemptions this week. This is a venue he plays very, very well on. So wouldn't surprise me if Webb Simpson jumped in there somewhere as well. So keep him on your radar. But these guys right now, I just think this is one of those horses for courses sort of venues.
I think there's going to be more and more controversy as the years go along on these signature events and who gets in on a sponsor's exemption, because it's guaranteed money. They're literally handing him a check.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys that would love to swing through Harbor Town, 150 miles away from Augusta, grab 40 grand a minimum, whatever it is, and keep it all moving.
And that's Coachman with a C.
You're damn right. Capital N at the end. By the way, did you guys listen to all that research? I tell you all the time there are levels to this game. Did you listen to all of that? Let it sink in. And I'll ask you, after this last category, both of my guys, one very simple question. Do you want to do the work? I didn't think so. Now, speaking of working, last week or the last few weeks, I've teased Fast Eddie about certain picks when it comes to one Scottie Scheffler. And it always drives me insane when somebody who's super wealthy makes a pick and rubs it in your face. Not you, Eddie. I'm talking about the head of Barstool. Did anybody see Dave Portnoy?
Yeah.
He won a big bet on UConn. Then he parlays it and won over $1 million on Scottie Scheffler at plus 450. I may or may not have tweeted it was the dumbest bet he could have made at plus 450. And now I'm the moron. Now, and it was like pictures of him going like this, 1.2. I'm like, oh my God, it drives me incredible. But Eddie, a win's a win. As you know, you picked Scheffler a couple of times. This week, once again, plus 400 for our boy. Somebody in the chat did ask, do you think the pregnant wife situation will cause him to lose focus? I don't, but gentlemen, and Eddie, I'm going to start with you because you have Zalatoris and Young. It could. Let's just say the phone rings on Saturday and he's in the lead and you're holding a ticket. Do you know any sports books that you're going to walk in and go, excuse me, miss, I got this ticket right here. It's no good anymore. Can I just get my money? Nobody's going to do that.
No.
That's why I wouldn't play him, not the losing focus. Eddie, your thoughts on the winners this week?
Yeah, I think he's going to talk to Meredith and say, hey, call me around, if he's teeing off at 11, call me around 10:50 and just say, hey, I'm having some labor pains. So I'm going to be like, hey, guys, I got to go.
I got to go.
Make sure you call the tournament headquarters on that so they
exactly.
know
exactly. Look, you know, he's just – I picked him last week just in my I have a little deal with one of my buddies. We pick the winners for the 4 majors. So I picked Scottie. He was my first pick, but not to. I would not have bet him though. I would not have bet him. But Will Zalatoris, Cam Young, Zalatoris plus 2,500. He's back to form. Tied for 9th last week. His strokes gained, tee to green, and approach is very, very solid. If he can just figure out how to be consistently good with the putter, even average, I think he's going to have a great week because he strikes it so well. And I think he'll be in contention Sunday afternoon and have a shot to win. And then Cam Young, what can you say about this kid? He has not won yet, although it seems like he's always there on the weekend. It just last 30 days, he's playing super solid, tied for third in 2022 at Harbor Town. So he's got some good vibes here. It's just a matter of time. I would have to think it's this year he's going to break through and win. He's just super talented, and he hits it really far. He hits his irons really well. It just, there's nothing the kid really doesn't do very well. So I think this is going to be a good week for him, especially tying for third in 2022. He's familiar with the golf course, and I just like him. He played pretty solid last week as well at the Masters.
All right, very, very good. Shout out to a lot of you in the chat sending us nice messages, how much you enjoy the show, how much you enjoy the insight. We appreciate it. Hit that like button for me. It really helps us grow. But also, if you have friends and you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I encourage you to do that. Turn on your notifications. Now, Steve Scott, your guy, who Fast Eddie also loves, when you're talking about elevated events, whether it's a major or a signature event, this man shows up. The back, I don't think it's an issue anymore. And the last two signature events, guess who was right there on Sunday? Your boy. Explain yourself.
Yeah, my boy back. I mean, at Genesis, he was tied for second. That's a great place to strike your golf ball around, as is Bay Hill for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. He tied fourth there. So I really like what he's doing. Last week, I mean, I like both your picks there, Eddie, for sure. Obviously, I picked one of them, but I picked Cam Young to finish top 20 last week and Zalatoris to finish top 10 last week. They both finished inside the top 10, so they're both playing great golf. I like Zalatoris, the way he's striking the golf ball, the way he did a post after the Masters last week, and he said he's really close. He's really, really close. He hit a lot of great shots coming down the stretch and climbed up. He was outside the top 20 going into the last day and moved into that top, that coveted top 12. If you're not going to win, you might as well get an invitation back so you can get guaranteed, and he will definitely go back there as well. But there's certain golf courses that this guy likes, and he hasn't played here that much. He's only played here once, tied for 42nd here back in 2021. That was kind of during the COVID times and whatnot, but I think this is a really good golf course for him, and it would not surprise me in the least if Will Zalatoris put on that maybe 32 regular tartan jacket this week. He's a tiny little guy. He's just slightly bigger than Akshay Bhatia.
Yeah.
How funny was it when Shane Lowry was joking that when they were playing together at Augusta, he was worried that Akshay was going to get blown away on Friday.
It's true.
That was so funny. Oh, my God. Those on 1 to 10, you guys are competitive golfers. How hard do you think those conditions were on Friday when John Rahm complained that they should have stopped play? Eddie?
It was
1 to 10?
9.
9?
9, probably. I mean, it was brutal.
20. It was 20, and I know that's not between 1 and 10. It was brutal. It was unbelievable.
These guys know. I mean, it's a hard golf course anyway. Brooks Koepka said on Tuesday, some reporter, do you think 59 is possible out here? Have you ever played this course? Have not. Then you wouldn't have asked that stupid question. That was classic.
That putt that Tiger made on the 36th hole there on Friday afternoon to finish at 1 over, when he was getting sandblasted and he just kind of stood there and was kind of blocking his head for a second, and he stood up there and buried that 6-footer. That was one of the best putts I saw the whole week.
Max Homa talked about that. I mean, Max Homa, we know, has a man crush on Tiger anyway. But he said, he goes, it was so windy out there. He goes, I was trying to cover my face, and I looked over, and Tiger was standing there like a statue. Didn't even faze him. And so, I mean, I love Max Homa because he keeps it real. Like, all of us as human beings, that's how we feel. But as competitors, we can't say that because that's a competitor. Oh, not Max Homa. Not Max Homa. By the way, Japan, I will be calling the Zurich Classic. You need to know that I won't be on site, though, because when we call PGA Tour Live, Steve is on site this week, but he's a walker. And then when we call it, we have a big compound, so we don't have to take everybody on site. So I'm calling the Zurich Classic next week. Yes, will not be in New Orleans. No. Do you like walking, or do you like calling in the in the booth, Steve?
I like both. Honestly, I like both. I like the ability to look at all the stats on the computer, but then I like at the same time to be able to connect with the players and the caddies and the coaches on site. I like to be able to do both. My next 3 events, I'm going to be on course for here at Wells Fargo and the PGA at Valhalla. So I like being able to kind of do both, honestly. But the studio, maybe just a little bit more. The weather's a little bit more predictable.
And he's kind of a diva, so when he's in the studio, it's got to be just the right temperature.
I mean, look at his hair. His hair is always perfect, you know. I didn't bring my lighting with me today.
Oh, that's who he is. That's who he is. I mean, I hate to tell secrets behind the curtain. Also, by the way, did you notice that I don't even have 3 events all year, and he's got 3 events.
Shut up.
Hey, really quick. Remember when you said, I think it was you, Coach, that said Tiger needs to play in a sauna? Was that you or Steve?
I said that.
It looked the same, though.
So it looked like Tiger was in a sauna with how much he was sweating on Saturday. And I'm like, I don't think it's really that hot out there, but he was dripping in sweat.
Yeah, I think he gave everything he had, and that was all he had.
He always does, no matter if he's shooting 82 or 62.
Yeah. So I bet against him on Saturday and Sunday, and it was an easy cash. And I hate to admit that, but sometimes if they're going to give you a sacrificial lamb at a sports book, you take it. Absolutely. You take it. And his head-to-head were so easy Saturday and Sunday. It was a no-brainer. Yep. All right, our final category, a place that Fast Eddie Fernandes likes to call home, because he has made many a cash this year. I don't know how he's doing it. I don't know how he's done it. The last one, I believe, was Nick Taylor at plus 13,130 to 1. That man cashed it that week on Super Bowl Sunday. So this is your category, Fast Eddie. I'm going to start with you first. Give me these 2 names that maybe, if you're not a hardcore, you don't know, but they're solid players.
Yeah, Patrick Rogers. When he came out of Stanford as just out of college, you know, he was a world beater. And everyone thought that this kid is going to come to the PGA Tour and win multiple times and contend for majors. And he just hasn't lived up to the billing. At plus 18,000, I mean, he's a really, really solid player. And it's just, for whatever reason, he just has not come through. But I think, obviously, he's talented enough. He hits it far enough. His overall game is very solid. I just think it's, a matter of time, whether it be this year or next year. He's been on tour now for several years, and I just think one of these weeks it's all going to come together for him, and he's going to come through. And at plus 18,000 as a long shot, why not? I've watched him hit balls right in back of him. I've watched him play. My trainer Jeff Flagg used to train him, so he works hard. And he's in great shape. Why not? I thought it was a good pick. And he tied for 19th last year. So he's, coming in fresh. He was off last week after playing 5 weeks in a row. So we'll see. And then Thomas Dietrich, kind of on the scene this year, from Belgium, I believe he's from, right? At plus 10,000. Last start, tied for second at the Houston Open. So I expect him to ride that good play into this week with a great performance. A couple top 5s in the last couple of months. Super talented. Love his golf swing. Hits it far. And, he's almost a stroke and a half strokes gained total the last 30 days. So he's playing better than the rest of the field. Love his action and his attitude. He's going to be around a long time. He swings it beautifully.
And he also went to the former alma mater of one Tiger Woods as well, if you're bringing a full circle storyline-wise, which I know that you were. All right. Now, Steve-O, let me come over to you, because you've got 2 names. Both have been winners in 2024, yet they still get these numbers. Yeah. Explain why.
Right. It's kind of mind-blowing to me, honestly. I mean, Chris Kirk at plus 6,000 and Austin Eckroat at plus 15,000. I mean, this is a golf course. I know we're in South Carolina. It's kind of still kind of getting out of the winter. We're into the spring now. But this golf course is overseeded a little bit, but there is a strong Bermuda base on these greens. I remember these greens had a little bit more grain than some. And think about where Chris Kirk and Austin Eckroat both won. Chris Kirk won in Hawaii, the Century right off the bat. Austin Eckroat won at PGA National. PGA National, think about the par threes at the champion course at PGA National. There's some of the most diabolical par threes. This golf course right here at Harbor Town, it has got there's some very diabolical par threes here as well. You've got Pete Dye special railroad ties right up next to the greens. You have to be very, very precise on a few of these. You could make 6 or 7 in a heartbeat on the 14th hole. It's so difficult. And so you got to look at that. You got to look at those course comparisons and the turf comparisons as well. And for these guys both to be winners, like you said, and be at these numbers outside of plus 5,000, I mean, you got to sprinkle a little something on these guys, because I think they got the confidence. When you got a win under your belt, you're going to be able to freewheel it a little bit more than some.
Yeah, they have figured out how to play with the big boys and not be intimidated by playing with the big boys. By the way, Saturday, I love betting on the lowest score of the day, and a lot of sports books will give you that. Chris Kirk, if you had bet on him Saturday, you would have cashed. He shot 4 under par. I had Colin Morikawa at plus 2,400. He was at -3 for 7 freaking holes.
He was like, 3 under after 3. Didn't he birdie the first 3 holes, Coach? You're like this. You're counting, man.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, and he gets 12, and he's still at -3. He went through all the danger. I was like, we'll get 13. He has an eagle putt. What does he do? 3 putts. Then on 15, he's got one this far. What does he do? Jam it. And I every shot, I'm like, just get the 4. Just get the 4. Colin Morikawa, dead to me. I knew when he said, I know Scottie Scheffler is dangerous. I know he's the best player in the world. And it doesn't scare me one bit. I knew it was over. I knew it was over when he said that. You don't poke the bear. Then the bear goes out and shoots 400. Little boy, get out of my way. That's what Scottie Scheffler did to Colin Morikawa. All right, gentlemen. Some of the players, maybe they have been able to relax. Not you. Well done. Well done on a Tuesday live at 3 o'clock. Final thoughts as we'll start with Fast Eddie as we head into now. We've got a few weeks until the next major. Which players are going to step up? Which players are going to get all these FedEx Cup points, extra points this week? Your final takeaway.
Yeah. As Steve alluded to before, it's, Scottie's most likely going to be a father by the time the PGA comes around. So, but the thing about Scottie is he seems to compartmentalize his entire life. So yes, he wasn't even thinking about his wife, who's, almost 9 months pregnant and getting ready to deliver their first child. He was just focused on whatever he's doing, he's completely immersed in it. So I don't think that's really going to be a big issue for Scottie. I think, Brooks did not have a very good Masters. The conditions were brutal, obviously, but I think, going into, we got 3 or 4 weeks left before the PGA. So I think this is the time to where if you're going to make any changes or any equipment changes, especially, like I said it before, I've always been this way. I'm not a tinkerer. I like to be set like before the World Championships. I know exactly what I'm going to hit. Same thing with golf. I like to know what my clubs are going to be, whatever the setup is for the golf course, whatever golf course it is. I want to be set at least 3-4 weeks ahead of time and just go with that, make a game plan and go. So I think if these guys are going to, if they're tinkering with something, get it done now this week or maybe next week at the latest, and then just, okay, this is what I'm going in with, commit to it and go take it to them.
Mm-hmm. Steve Scott, your final thoughts as you get ready to go out. And if I know you, like I think I know you, you're going to go study the course. You're going to take your little notes down. You're going to be brilliant as you always are on PGA Tour Live. Give me some brilliance right here.
I'm heading out there right now, right when we're done. But yeah, this is one of the most iconic venues on tour. You basically play 16 and a half holes in very narrow corridors in between houses and whatnot. And then you get to the 17th green and the whole place opens up and the wind starts to blow. It's a very iconic golf course. The ending with the lighthouse, Matt Fitzpatrick, defending champion. We'll see if he can repeat here and as well. But I just love this golf course. I think this is one of my favorites to watch on TV. And fortunately, I'll be there on site to be able to watch it. The weather's going to be great this week. We won't have to worry about any of that. I love this venue. I love the energy here in the Low Country. So can't wait to pop out there and feel that energy this week.
And what stream will you be on so the good people can catch you on ESPN Plus?
I will be on the featured group stream this week. So check it out. Check it out early. Check it out often. Yes.
That is stream number 3. If you're looking at your ESPN Plus, stream number 3 will be Steve. And I also want you to find out for me, Steve, because I know this is going to happen. And I don't give a damn if they admit to it or not. They're going to take a shot of one of those private jets on the close runway. And they're going to show it over and over and over. What do we think the over-under is going to be on? There's the plane. All fueled up, ready to go. As soon as, even if it's going to be a fake plane, it's not going to be his real plane. But don't we believe that's going to happen? I can see CBS doing it already.
You got to ratchet up the drama, right? It's all about drama. So let's do it. I wish my plane was over there too, but it's not. It's in the hangar getting serviced.
The PGA Tour live plane that they fly. It's part of his contract, ladies and gentlemen. He's got different contracts than us. I mean,
I can't even get a paper airplane.
Yeah.
True. All right, it's going to be a lot of fun. 5th signature event on the PGA Tour as we really start to fire up and get things going. We're in a nice flow here at DTL Golf. We continue to grow because of all of you at home. It's a steady process, patience, but damn it, we're having a good time getting this thing going. So it's now time for all of you golf bettors out there. Take the knowledge. Take the knowledge and make decisions for yourself. If you don't have the head-to-head matchups that we gave out, take the information. Make them yourself. It's not just about the exact pits. It's about you doing it for yourself. So go out into the world. Pay it forward. Be kind to one another. Be honest with each other. And understand this. There's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these RBC Heritage tickets straight to the pay window. Brian Tucker, Lobo. My man, Steve Scott. Fat Steady Fernandes. Never forget about producer man, always behind the scenes, making the show look like $1 million. I am simply the coach. Trying to keep this train on said track. We will have live bets on Thursday, on Friday for round 1, for round 2. We got you covered. It's time to cash those tickets. We grind for you so we can win with you. It's truly what we're all about under the entire brand, especially here at DTL Golf. Good luck.